Hey everybody, Bonehead from the Bonehead podcast, and welcome to Blood Bowl 7's Khorne team. So we're looking at all the teams available in Blood Bowl 2020, whether it's the rulebook, the Teams of Legend PDF, the expanded NAF teams, or the new Khorne team that's landed in Spike 13. So this roster is strong and hectic, and in a world like Sevens, where there's very few rerolls, this one is a very exciting roster. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at some starting rosters for your Sevens teams, looking at 600k, just to see what we can get on the pitch with Khorne. So let's start off with a balanced roster here for the Khorne team. So 600k, you don't get a lot. Now these guys can be very expensive. Their mix of possessionals really does give you some choice when it comes to strength, but basically everybody's got frenzy. So the Bloodspawn is their big guy. We're looking at strength 5, we've got claws, frenzy and mighty blow. So in Sevens, where removal can be absolutely massive because you've only got 7 players, this guy can be massive on the pitch and he can make such a monumental difference. However, he's not a Minotaur. Now, in Blood Bowl 11s, where you've got that line of slaughter, he's going to be able to get that block, get that frenzy. When it comes to Sevens, you've got more open space, so you are going to be able to choose who he attacks by using a blitz action, but you're not going to get that +1 for horns. So when it comes to kaiju versus kaiju, when it comes to your strength 5 piece against their strength 5 piece, you are still going to need to run with assists. So definitely one to watch when it comes to running these guys in Sevens. So the Bloodspawn, 2 Bloodseekers, 1 Khorne Gore, and 3 Linemen comes in exactly at 600. So no rerolls, but it's Sevens. You don't need rerolls. This roster here, you get a bit of everything when it comes to Khorne. So if you've watched any of the other Khorne videos, you'll know that I love the Bloodseekers, and in Sevens I think they're going to be even more powerful. But what this roster here does give you is it gives you 3 cheap linemen, okay, 50k a piece, Edge 3+, they can do stuff. It gives you 1 guy, 1 Khorne Gore to be that ball carrier. Now, it's going to be blitzing on a strength 4 as well, and it does have Juggernaut, which is a fantastic combat skill to start out. And this is where it gets a bit dicey, because you want to be blitzing probably with the Bloodspawn, and the reason for that is because it's got that unchanneled fury, so it's going to be angry. It's got a wild animal of old, so you're going to have to do stuff with it. You're going to have to use the blitz to give it a 2+, or it's going to be a 4+ to try and move it around, so definitely puts you at disadvantage there. You want to utilize that Khorne Gore's ability to blitz because it makes you another strength 4 player who doesn't have frenzy. So Khorne Gore is going to be really important on this roster, but ultimately you've got 2 of these Bloodseekers who are strength 4 and frenzy, and that just means you're going to be rolling 2 dice followed by another 2 dice in most situations, and that is what I call a 4-die block. And you never know, with a few assists you may be able to pull off the magical 6 dice block, which can be pretty destructive when it comes to the Sevens front. Now this roster here, you get the Bloodspawn, you get a Khorne Gore, and you get 2 of those Bloodseekers. It gives you a bit of everything, and if you want to be trying out Khorne, if you want to give it a show on the Blood Bowl pitch without spending a good 2.5 hours playing a game, this roster in Sevens will give you all of the full experience, I think, of Khorne just in a 45-minute window in Sevens. Next up, we've got the Max Seekers build. So this one comes in at 590 and features those players I just gushed about. So 4 Bloodseekers, 3 Linemen. Downside, everybody's got frenzy, but it's a Khorne roster. That's kind of what you're here for. Upside here is against most teams, you are going to have 4 players that are going to be strength 4, which is probably stronger than them. So you've got those linemen with edge 3+. That's good. They do have frenzy, so you're going to have to be very, very careful. But 4 frenzy chaos warriors essentially on this roster means that you are going to be farming out blocks and blitzes, and you should be able to pull off 2 dice to 4 die frenzy blocks wherever you want, whenever you want. The Blood Bowl 7's pitch is significantly smaller as well, so when you are running around with strength 4 frenzy pieces, you should be able to farm some combos and get some crowd pushes as well. The Max Seeker build here is going to outmuscle most other rosters, and it's going to be able to just capitalize on that frenzy as well. What teams are going to match up poorly against this? Potentially Chaos Renegades or Ogres, where they've got that higher strength. but I've run the Khorne roster against ogres, and with a couple of assists you can pile those punches in on those high strength players. Your players here are strong and frenzied and tough when it comes to their armor, and they're 110k, which, although expensive for a positional, is cheaper by a significant amount compared to those players that are going to beat up on it. Okay, mummies, you know, mummies, minotaurs, ogres, they're all more expensive. You're not going to see very many of them in 7s, and with a couple of assists you are going to be able to 4-die block almost anything. On the downside, when it comes to ball handling, this roster is going to struggle. You've only got 3 players with Edge 3+, everybody else is Edge 4+, and you've got no rerolls, but it's 7s. Spend the first half with this roster just trying to delete several players from your opponent's roster, and then you're playing 7s, they're playing 5s, and you're probably going to win that matchup. So that was kind of the all-out offensive way of looking at it. We got the 22 Apo here, so 2-2 and an Apothecary. So 2 Bloodseekers, 2 Khorne Gores, 3 Linemen, and the new price of the Apothecary in Blood Bowl 7's 80k. So what this roster gives you is 2 Strength 4 Frenzy pieces, 2 of those potential ball carriers without Frenzy, okay? So it does give you the opportunity for either one of 4 of your players to blitz at strength 4. 2 of them are going to have frenzy, 2 of them aren't, so it does give you a lot of flexibility. In this roster here, you've now got 5 players with Edge 3+, and you've got that Apothecary to keep them refreshed. You don't have enough money to buy that reroll. That Apothecary fulfills the role of the 8th player, but it does more than that. If your opponent does take out one of your Bloodseekers or does take out one of your Khorne Gores, you kind of get a way to sneak a 5th positional onto your roster, and in 7s that can be massively overpowering. So 590, 2 Khorne Gores to be your kind of runners, you've got 2 Bloodseekers to be your blitzers, you've got 3 linemen to do the lineman thing, which in 7s is really important, and you've got that Apothecary to make sure that they stick around. If you're going to a sequential event, so like what we did with 7 Super Series, where you take a roster and you add a skill, add a skill, add a skill. If you're doing it in a league way, where you want your players to keep around from game to game, this one's going to be really good. So if you're in a situation where you're going to be putting skills on your regular players, the Apothecary there is definitely going to bring back its money. It's going to give you that 8th player, and it's going to keep your most important players as they level up on the pitch, and that's going to maximize your TVOP, and that's going to help give you those extra percentage points for winning. But there is a way to get some rerolls into some rosters, and the first one we're going to look at is the 1-3 reroll. So this one also comes in at 590. 1 Bloodseeker for your Strength 4 Frenzy piece. He is your pseudo bad guy, your pseudo big guy on this roster. He's there to do the damage. You're also backed up by 4 linemen. All of them have got Frenzy, so be careful with that. But you've got 3 Khorne Gores there to limit your Frenzy risk. And you've got a reroll there to maximize any opportunity plays. If something goes really badly, if you need to pick up the ball and you've got 1 chance to play at it, you can do it with this roster. So it's an interesting roster. You lose some of the advantage of the frenzy strength that the Khorne roster comes with by running those 3 Khorne Gores. They're good players, but you're missing that power element. What this does give you is a little bit more consistency, because those 3 players who are not as strong as some of the other players do not have frenzy. They do have jugs, so they are going to be able to bounce out of a situation, and you've got that reroll. This roster also manages to fit in there 8 players, so you're missing the strength of the additional Bloodseekers or even the Bloodspawn, but you are making up for it by having a bench and a reroll. So if you're looking to play a more careful game of Khorne, this is the one for you. Or you can go full gore. So the 4 gore reroll comes in bang on 600, and surprisingly you get 4 gores and a reroll. So this is a really interesting one, because this flip-flops the Khorne experience. More than half of your players at this point are going to be beastmen, good beastmen, who have that horns jugs combination, which gives you the advantage over other beasts, and 3 linemen who do have that frenzy angle too, so you can set up some assisted frenzy nonsense. You've got that reroll to keep it consistent as well. This is going to be essentially the fast Khorne build. You are missing out on strength, you are missing out on some frenzy, but you've still got the ability there to get a good strength 4 blitz in, and you've got 3 of those linemen where you can go for an assisted frenzy blitz quite happily sometimes in 7s, and you should be able to squeeze those serfs in. You've got a reroll to keep things consistent as well, so 4 gore reroll at 600 is not a bad choice. And we always have to get the lineman roster in for 7s. You can get 2 rerolls with 8 linemen in this game, and you know what? These linemen are pretty good. Edge 3+ and Frenzy. There's no combat skills. You've got no armor. Everybody's armor 8+. If you're going to be running an all-lineman team, this is probably one of the better ones to go for. They don't have the agility of elves. They don't have the speed of Skaven. But what they do have is that ability to throw 14 blocks in a turn. Now, that's risky. And that's what the 2 rerolls are for. But it's got to be the 1-2-1 for me. So if you are in any kind of sevens league, this one is going to give you the tools you need to do whatever you want to do. You've got that one Khorne gore to be your ball runner, a good ball runner, but you've got 3 linemen there to be your reserve. So if the Khorne gore gets gone, you've got some linemen there who can step in. You've still got 2 slow Ulf Warreners. Okay, Ulf Warreners are amazing. The Norse team's only allowed 2 of them. You've got those Bloodseekers there. They're a little bit slower than Ulf Warreners, but you do have that. And then you've got the Bloodspawn as well. So the Bloodspawn is not as good as a Minotaur for running around destroying stuff. But that Claws Mighty Blow combo, mixed in with the fact that it is Strength 5 and it is Frenzy, and you've got those 2 Bloodseekers as well. This is a power build. You're missing out rerolls, that's fine, it's 7s, because what you're going to be doing here is throwing 3 very good blocks a turn, and one of those with Claws and Mighty Blow and a couple of assists, that can turn into a 6-die block with armor deleting potential. And in 7s, if you get 2 removals, you are plain sailing. And the ability here to hit with that armor nullifying piece and then have it backed up with those 2 strength 4 ultimate linebackers. This roster here is awesome fun, and when it comes to running in 7s, this might be the most fun 7s roster we've got that isn't the just, you know, Chaos Pact to just where it's at. But this one comes in real close because that's 3 high strength frenzy pieces, including a bit of Mighty Blow as well. This roster can go brilliantly. If you throw some pals, this is going to absolutely maim your opponent. If you throw skulls, you're going to maim yourself. So I mean, this just takes high strength and frenzy, which I love on the Blood Bowl pitch, and mixes it in with a game that's probably not going to take any more than half an hour, because one way or another, there's not going to be a lot of players left on the pitch. And you know what? Die by your own sword, they're going to die by yours. Your sword is going to do plenty of work here, because it is all about the blood, and all of these players have got blood in the title, and your team should be called something blood, because this is Khorne and this is putting the blood in Blood Bowl. And maybe that one Khorne gore will pick up the ball and score a touchdown, but it could just be a skull of a player instead. Anyway guys, let me know what you think of Khorne in 7s 1-2-1 mix. Just fun, just really fun. I've convinced myself. And now I want to play a 7s event really soon. I've missed 7s. Anyway, I'm going to go organise some Blood Bowl 7s. Let me know what you think of the rosters here. Khorne in 7s. High strength frenzy. So much fun. We'll catch you soon. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to help support the channel even further, please like and subscribe, or come join us on our Patreon. We have early access to content. We get loads of feedback from you guys, and we try and do competitions as much as we can. Or you can get yourself some Bonehead podcast merch on our Spreadshirt site. So if you want to support a team, especially for the Bonehead Championship, you can pick up a shirt, a mug, things like that. It all helps support the channel, and we really appreciate it. Anyway, links below. Thank you very much. Happy blocking.